Welcome to the Motherhood Alliance podcast, the podcast dedicated to empowering moms and families on their health and wellness journey. I'm Brittany Suttner.
And I'm Drea. Together, we're here to explore holistic approaches that go beyond conventional medicine.
Each week, we dive into topics that matter most to you. Everything from nutrition and mental health to alternative therapies and natural living.
And whether you're a new mom navigating the early stages of parenthood or a seasoned pro looking for new ways to support your family's well-being, you're in the right place.
Even better, all of our guests are local small business owners who you can actually talk to and work with. You can learn more about today's guest and connect with hundreds of other health and wellness professionals through our informative and easy-to-use directory at motherhoodalliance.com.
Before we get started, keep in mind that this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for personal healthcare advice. Please consult your healthcare provider before making any changes based on the podcast content.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Are you ready to help your family thrive? Let's get started. Hi, we are Brit and Drea from motherhoodalliance.com, and we are excited to welcome you to our 100th episode of the Motherhood Alliance podcast. And to kickstart our next 100 episodes, we're bringing on some guests that many of you have asked for more information about, ourselves. In many past episodes, we've referred to our history as prenatal and postpartum personal trainers through our other business, Fit Moms on the Move, and how a career in that field ultimately led us to starting the Motherhood Alliance. In these 4 episodes, we dive into numerous topics related to navigating fitness before and after pregnancy, navigating the pressures of society, ab and pelvic floor function, how to have a fast postpartum recovery, and what to do if you are years postpartum and your abs feel weak. So without further ado, welcome to today's conversation with us, Drea and Brit. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 1 with Drea and Brit. Here we are. Hi, Drea.
Hello, this is us right here. Nobody else but us.
Yep, we're going to have fun with it, though. And it's going to be kind of fun to talk about our last 11 years of entrepreneurship and what we've done in our career journey. But of course, with every new guest that we have on the podcast, we talk about our fun fact. So, Drea, would you like to share a fun fact that we came up with for the audience?
Yeah, sure. So when we were younger, I think Brittany just turned 18, we decided we wanted to get matching sister tattoos. And this was... I can't calculate dates, but this would have been the time when everybody was getting the Chinese symbols on their bodies. And so we ended up I got an elder sister, a small tattoo on my shoulder, and then Brittany got a younger sister tattoo on her shoulder. So it's in the same place on our shoulders. It's just elder sister, younger sister. And we did verify many times. We still hope that it's what it says it is.
I'm skeptical. Every time I see a Chinese person, I cover up that tattoo because I'm like, I just don't want it to say something goofy and I have no idea. So like Drea said, we did have it vetted ahead of time. But
of course, it's been years too. So they're kind of blurry. So, maybe they don't really I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So there we are. We are tatted together from an 18-year-old decision.
Yeah.
We're going to be jumping into, in this episode, talking about balancing motherhood and fitness. And coming from us, we're moms ourselves. We're also prenatal and postpartum specialized personal trainers, but we didn't necessarily start out in this field or knowing that we would jump into this field. So Drea, why don't you start out by sharing a little bit about how we got into this industry and specialized in prenatal postpartum specifically?
Yeah. So, and I think that we mentioned a lot of this in our very first episode on the Motherhood Alliance podcast and how Motherhood Alliance came to be as well, from Fit Moms on the Move. But, so in 2013, I had my first child. It was a normal delivery. Everything was good. But me being a fitness instructor at the time, and a young mom too, I kind of didn't really realize that there was a lot of issues that could potentially happen with pregnancy and postpartum. I kind of just thought I'd have a baby, be off and good to go. Like, it was no problem. It's not the case at all. So, So when I had him, I couldn't understand why I couldn't actually sit up in bed. At this point now, I realized that it was diastasis, pretty significant diastasis, those first few weeks of postpartum. And then 3 months postpartum, I realized as I was teaching my first fitness class back, I could not do jumping jacks. Like, I was going to pee all over the floor. It was horrifying to me. I don't know if anybody else in the class realized it because I just started modifying, but it was crazy. So from that point on, I was a fitness instructor for a couple years up to that point, and I realized that I was doing my class which is the majority of moms that would come in postpartum, disservice by not understanding the postpartum body, how pregnancy really affects our bodies and beyond. And so I kind of tapped Brittany because she had just moved back. And I said, hey, I have this idea. I kind of want to really help local women, moms with postpartum fitness. And so Brittany being in having a bachelor's degree in exercise science, we're like, okay, yeah, let's team up. Let's do this. One thing that I really wanted to do was be close to my baby. I wanted to make sure that I was there to breastfeed him. Being a first-time mom, I didn't want to leave control over to somebody else a whole lot either. So we ended up doing stroller fitness classes for many years, actually. It was slow at first. Small business stuff. It's just
any entrepreneur listening is like, it's painful in the beginning.
In the beginning, or it can be, at least for us, it was. But it ended up blowing up quite a bit. It was a summer thing. We had, eventually we had 20 plus women in each of these classes. We made so many friends, and we were able to help so many women with in pregnancy and postpartum. We ended up getting certified in pregnancy fitness during that time. When 2020 came, we had already decided that we were going to be doing some online stuff, and that just kind of kicked that in the rear, and we just really got going there. And then we got our personal training. We got really deep pregnancy and postpartum certification, and that's how that kind of all got started.
Yeah, and it was a crazy journey, all of that, because then I was having my 2 kids, you had your second child during that time frame when we were starting to teach these classes. But we've really discovered how important fitness can be, not only physically and like helping to rehab some of those challenges that you experienced yourself, but then going through COVID and just the loneliness that motherhood can bring, it's important mentally as well. So let's go through some of that. So Drea, why do you think fitness is so important for moms? Not just physically, but like emotionally and mentally and socially too.
Well, when you say that, I always think of community too, because being part of why we started it too was that community aspect. So socially wise, fitness doesn't have to be by yourself. In fact, it's even better when it is with others, especially for moms. But really what it comes down to with fitness, with exercise, with just moving your body is movement is medicine. I mean, if you just think of it that way, that's just going to be what makes the most sense. So fitness doesn't have to be regimented either. It doesn't have to be something that you do every single day the same way. It doesn't mean that you have to follow an exact fitness protocol, especially in those early years. I mean, we teach grace and flexibility throughout all of our classes, throughout all of our programs, because it really is about keeping it simple and being intentional with your movement. And that's what makes the biggest difference for moms especially. So as far as, why is it just not just physically important, but emotionally, mentally, physically wise, it increases your energy. It helps with flexibility. We need strength to keep up with our kids. And for me, it's definitely stress relief too, for sure. It helps lower those cortisol levels. And, even though you don't necessarily get the best of sleep, just moving, walking, doing small things, it makes a big difference.
And then staying on that physical side, we're going to talk more about this in our next few episodes, but there are a lot of imbalances that can happen from pregnancy and birth. So new habits that we create during that 9 months of our body shifting. And so physically getting your body kind of put back together again is super important for long-term health and happiness and success when it comes to avoiding physical pain or backtracks or injuries or things like that. But then I feel like the emotional and mental side, like you were saying, movement is medicine, and the cortisol side of just, it lowers cortisol levels. So stress, it seems so counterintuitive, but when you actually make time for workouts, it increases your energy overall.
Yeah.
But I think more so, it really increases our confidence in ourselves and just knowing that we are taking time away from our busy schedules as moms to do something for ourselves. Like, I feel like if you work out in the morning, you just walk a little taller that day.
Yeah, well, you accomplished something. You already checked something off your list. I don't know about anybody else, but I love having a checklist. If it's not physically, it's mentally in my head. Like, done. Got that done. I accomplished something today.
Yeah. But the reason we wanted to have this episode is because we know that it's not always easy to do.
Right.
Especially when you have newborns and toddlers and they're constantly climbing on you and asking you for things and having a hard time with different things or fighting, things like that. So what do you think, Drea, on how can women prioritize finding movement of any form? It could be a walk. It could be a more like a workout. It could be something else. But how can they prioritize it when they are truly feeling exhausted and like they have no time?
We talk about balance, and, balance can be different for everybody, right? But I think the biggest thing is to just really shift your mindset into understanding why you're doing it. And when you take the time to really understand the why behind why even, get up in the morning and exercise, or why make that time for it, why take time for yourself to do it, it really helps set your mindset in the right direction. So, if you don't really understand the benefits, or you don't really understand the long-term reasons for moving your body on a daily basis, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Again, does not have to be complicated. It really will make a huge difference for you as a mom too.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding your why too, it really just helps you become a better mom. So, for me, if I haven't been physically active, if I haven't just went for my walks or done something, I actually get really cranky.
I feel like I get really achy.
Achy too.
My legs get achy if they haven't been moved.
Yeah. And it's important for not just mentally and all that other stuff, but like we said, there is so many more benefits to movement for yourself. So it's just another reason why it's so important too, is it's restoring your foundational core and your pelvic floor function after birth. So like Brittany said, in the next episode, we're going to kind of delve a little bit deeper into the changes that happen in pregnancy and how it can carry on into postpartum. But when you are exercising, even just walking is so phenomenal for your core strength. It's so amazing to just really start rebuilding yourself and getting that strength and confidence back.
Yeah. And if that seems a little bit foreign to you guys, we do have a 5 essentials to a strong postpartum core. It's a freebie on our website. Our website is fitmomsonthemove.com. You can just head over there, and that's going to give you a really good intro into what we're kind of talking about with restoring your foundational core and pelvic floor function. Now, Drea, you had mentioned grace and flexibility too, and this is something that we have always instilled into everything we do within FitMom.
Yeah,
it's been like our keywords.
It's been a motto,
our motto
for us, and honestly, I have to tell myself that all the time for personally too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think so many of us we come from our childhood experiences, playing on sports teams, maybe running a marathon, maybe being really consistent in your workouts, feeling really strong in just different areas of life. And then motherhood hits us, and our life isn't about us anymore. In fact, it feels like it's not about us at all.
Yeah.
It's hard. You really feel like your identity changes. And so a lot of women, when they're thinking about fitness and they have their baby, so many women are just thinking about trying to like bounce back. And we hate that term, but they want to get back into fitness so that they can change their physique. Right?
Right.
And that's so hard as prenatal and postpartum personal trainers to hear, but we know that that's also reality. But this is where the grace and flexibility comes in, is that we have to know that the fitness is going to look different after you have kids. You may not get a solid 45 minutes of uninterrupted time. So even if you're trying to do a 45-minute workout, just having the mental preparedness of it's going to have interruptions, or having to think through it ahead of time and have little either snack baskets or certain activity baskets for your kids, for them to try and stay entertained while you're doing your workout, or trying to figure out, maybe you worked out at 5 a.m. before you had kids. Now you have to do it at 1 p.m. when they're taking a nap, because that just works better for you. And so just know that workouts are going to look different than pre-motherhood, and that's okay. You don't have to sweat for a workout to be successful and give you benefit. It doesn't have to be a certain length of time. And honestly, there are days when workouts just won't happen.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing and able to just let the guilt fall off your shoulders, which is so hard to do in our world. But yeah, this is why grace and flexibility is...
Well, and keeping it simple, right? Like I said, just going for simple walks and involving your kids in this stuff too. So whether it's a stroller walk every morning, or throughout the day, or if it's, your toddler's riding their bike so you can walk along with them, or just playing chase in the yard, stuff like that. It doesn't have to be exercise and fitness, especially at that point in your life, does not have to be something that's overpowering or something where you're going to feel guilty, right? Just moving your body and, doing it in a way that makes you feel good and connected with your family is going to make a huge difference in the long run too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's get into some nitty-gritty details here, though, on some tips from us as prenatal and postpartum specialized personal trainers on how to fit in workouts into a busy mom schedule. So, what are the best types of workouts? What's kind of realistic and effective? How can you maximize your time? If you're going to set aside time to move your body, how do you maximize it when you're in that really busy season?
Yeah, this is such great stuff. So, ready for your notepads and books, right? So, strength training is definitely the one thing that we highly recommend if you are short on time and you want to get a good workout in. It does not have to be a long time of strength training, but that is so important. You can get all the benefits of cardio if you are lifting and doing the right things with that. We do have free YouTube workouts too on our YouTube channel. You can go to our website, fitmomsonthemove.com, or find us on YouTube. All free workouts. We have also programs too. And like I said, it doesn't have to be long. We even have programs that are just 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Start with 6. That's one of our programs. It's a 2-week program. You can repeat it as many times as you want. We also have one called Strength Express 15. So these are 15-minute workouts that are focusing on strength.
Right. And long-term wise, you can use these as long as you want to. Long-term wise, maybe you do want to, maybe eventually you'll have a little bit more time to do it. But it's such a great opportunity because we have found in the past that, when we've done challenges or whatever, sometimes moms just have a really hard time intentionally focusing on 6 minutes. And don't feel guilty about it. It's reality. And some days are better than others, but those are some really good resources for you to check out.
Yeah. So that's tip number 1 is really focusing on the strength training.
Strength training. There's so many physical benefits, hormones, just really building up your strength, just all the things.
Well,
it's so good.
And thinking long-term about your future self when you're an empty nester. And strength training is going to help with bone density and avoiding osteoporosis and all these other things that are really going to matter further down in life.
Right.
So number 2 for tips for fitting in workouts is going to be doing workout styles that you love.
Yes. Just because everyone's doing something doesn't mean you need to do it too if that's not something you're digging.
Now is this counterintuitive to what we just said? Because we just said strength training, but then we're also saying, but do what you love. And if you really don't like strength training, I can understand where that would be a little bit confusing. Strength training is going to have a lot of tangible benefits that we just kind of walked through. And we would recommend doing that at least twice a week if you can. And like we said, it doesn't have to be long. 15 minutes. You can actually really feel a good workout in 15 minutes. But then in addition to that, finding movement and workout styles that you love. This could simply be walking. This could be bar workouts. This could be riding your bike. This could be swimming. It can be whatever you want. But if you don't find joy in your workouts, you're not going to stay consistent.
Right, exactly. And I would also say, so that was number 2. So do things that you love to do. And you can incorporate the strength training part of it, body weights, everything else. That's totally fine. The third one would be if you're working out at home, invest in some of the equipment. That doesn't mean that you need to get, buy hundreds of dollars worth of barbells or anything like that. But simple things like resistance bands or, small balls like yoga mats, things like that. It doesn't have to be a lot of investment, but do invest in yourself because there's so many benefits to that.
Yeah, and just to take that one step further and have a little tough love for you guys is if you're doing something like bicep curls and all you have in your house is 5-pound dumbbells, you're wasting your time. I mean, you might be able to start at that weight, but pretty soon you're going to be ready to up your weight. And so the point of strength training is to challenge yourself. And that's where it's get the equipment. If you're ready for 10 pounders, go get them.
Right.
If you're ready for 15 pounders, go get them. Otherwise, you are literally wasting your time.
Right. Well, and I mean, that's another thing too, is that if you're going to be doing 5-pounder weights, don't think that, doing 15 reps for 3 rounds is enough for long term, maybe that means you need to increase the time under tension too. So there's different ways of using what you have as well. But like Brittany said, once you start moving up, treat yourself. Invest in that next set of weights up.
Number 4 we have for you is maximize your time. So if you are doing a 15-minute workout or a 20-minute workout, and this kind of pairs to number 3, but push yourself.
Yep.
So like Drea just mentioned, the tempo piece, where she also mentioned that strength training really can be giving you the benefits of cardio. Well, that's where you're going to be keeping your heart rate up, right?
Right.
And so that might be shorter rest breaks if you're doing a 15-minute workout and then jumping into round 2 or 3 of a certain exercise a little bit quicker. That's going to be what's going to be challenging your muscles instead of doing more of a traditional gym-based workout where you're doing a set of 10 and then a whole minute or 2 minutes off of recovery and then another set of 10. So this is going to be playing with the time that you have, but pushing yourself while you're in it.
So if you have like 20 minutes and you know it's during nap time, make it happen. If that means that you need to wait till dad gets home from work or whatever it is, you say, I have 20 minutes. It's my time. I need to do this.
Yep. And then number 5 is going to be involve the kids if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Two kind of thoughts on this is that we really are models to our kids. And this is a big passion of ours since we started Fit Mom, is just teaching our kids that fitness is fun.
Yeah.
And if they never ever see you working out, it's hard for them to learn that. However, we also understand that workouts, especially when kids are toddlers or babies, are much less quality, I guess.
It's hard to stay focused.
It is hard to stay focused when they're around. So finding that balance, and when they're babies and toddlers, like this is what I did. When they were babies and toddlers, I would work out during nap time.
Yeah.
Because that's just when I could really feel good about it and walk away feeling like I accomplished something. And then as they got older, I made sure that we would do things where they would get to see as well. And they've really learned from that.
Mm-hmm.
Before we finish out this episode, let's talk about higher intensity workouts briefly,
Sure.
because I think a lot of people are attending these like boot camp type classes now, or they're into CrossFit, or they're runners and they have their baby and they want to get back to what they were doing as fast as possible. So what are kind of your tips for getting into higher intensity workouts?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the first thing is, depending especially if you are freshly postpartum or within the last few months first few months postpartum, make sure you understand that you are your own self-advocate. So honestly, 99% of trainers out there, instructors, really don't have postpartum or pregnancy specific training. I mean, I'm going to be honest, most of them just don't. Like we didn't.
I didn't get any training from a 4-year degree. I got very, very minimal from our personal training certification.
Yeah.
Basically nothing from group fitness certifications.
It was like a page. It was kind of like,
depressing.
It was really sad. So, but that just goes to show you, I mean, in our industry, you have to be specialized in something if you really want to help people in that, in that arena. So when you go to these boot camps or CrossFit or anything else, like even running, we want you to make sure that you're your own self-advocate. And one way to do that is to check to make sure that you are actually ready. So we do have a running and high impact fitness readiness screen guide on our website. This is really important. It's got about 10 exercises in there. It kind of goes through, it goes through that. It'll only take you maybe 15 minutes to complete the whole thing, but it really helps you understand if you're ready on both sides of your body, if you're jumping, if you're having any kind of leaking or, issues with your pelvic floor. It will actually go through that and help you understand how close you are to being ready for that high impact running sorts of things. And then your next steps on if you're like, ooh, I was feeling some symptoms. What do I need to do next? We give you some next steps.
And please know that it should be a journey to get back to high impact type exercises right after birth, or even if you've just never really restored or re-strengthened your core since your babies were born. It might have been 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Going back to the foundations and reestablishing those is going to be key before you're jumping back into what you did pre-pregnancy.
And it may not take that long. It may not take that long to find that balance and find that strength again, and then you're off and running.
Yeah. So we do have 3 more episodes coming up. We're going to be talking about how to set realistic fitness goals in every season of motherhood. We're also going to be diving into some specific things that moms might experience, the habits we've talked about that might stay with you during pregnancy, like ab separation, rib flare, your transverse abdominals, which is your deepest core muscles, they might kind of get turned off during pregnancy, and how can you reactivate those? So some details around that. And then we will have an episode also dedicated to postpartum recovery and actually that specific season of life as well. So we have a lot to cover. We're really excited to be able to share this with you guys, and we'll be back soon. If you enjoyed this episode, would you consider leaving a rating or review or sharing it directly with a friend who could benefit from the information? We know that you're a busy mom or caregiver, and our goal is to make your life easier by bringing tips and tricks directly from experts into your earbuds. By sharing this episode with someone you love, you can play a critical role in helping to make their life easier as well. We appreciate your time, and thank you for being a part of the Motherhood Alliance family.